Hello. Hey, everyone. Who's typing? Someone's typing.
Not me. Maybe me. I was typing.
Someone was, not me.
When there's live demos on the line, I'll be typing all the way up to the time the screen shares.
All right. Well, how's everyone doing? KubeCon is over. I was kind of hoping it's gonna get lighter and or easier after KubeCon, but it feels like there's more and more things, interesting things coming out and up. And how was your KubeCon?
Good.
Good.
Yeah, Keith was on the main stage.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fancy.
it was actually a cool setup in terms of the layout of the keynote sessions because they had like stadium seating. So but it was exciting to be up there. I think it was really exciting to be talking about kagent and seeing how much enthusiasm there was in the Kubernetes community of just the gap that it fills. Because obviously everybody's interested right now is like what agentic means for what they're doing, whether a developer or a platform team. And I think in Kubernetes, I mean, there's many agentic frameworks out there, but there's a gap right now from a Kubernetes standpoint of just how that fits and lines up instead of rolling that on your own. I think that's why kagent has proven to be so popular initially. And another thing that came up and maybe we'll see. I think when we focus from a solo perspective on the agents and tooling we developed it first, and then also even the demos that we do are very much focused around our space, right? Things that we care about around platform engineering workflows for networking or administration and care and feeding of your infrastructure. But like, I think it kind of gets lost that kagent is just a general purpose agent development framework for Kubernetes. So whatever specific domain and application and use case you have, it doesn't have to be Kubernetes or platform specific,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yes. There's a particular. There's a couple of attendees that I was chatting at the booth, and they were interested in kagent. It was, as you said, like platform engineering, and I'm like, but your company has like a great public API as well, so it doesn't have to be only for your internal like platform engineering team. You can do the same thing for your like consumer end users, if you will. Right?
Yeah. Well, and that cascades in something else. Like, I don't think we spilled this tea in the last session around MCP Gateway, right? Like that was, we were holding that back. We're all sitting on that news. So I don't know if we want to talk about that, how it relates to kagent and, kind of just, tool integration.
I would. Well, I'm hoping to do these every week. So maybe we save that for next week.
Sure. Okay.
Because there was a promise last time that we're going to do demos this time. But I'm going to break this right away and I'll go in and like share a couple of slides. But then I promise we'll go into the demos, and it's only 2 slides. It's going to go by fast. So anyway, so what's new? So last week, I think we released a new version of kagent. So we added support for Azure OpenAI and Anthropic, and you can configure these through model options CRD. And I can show this in the demo as well. We also added the ability to configure MCP servers. So there's a tool server CRD that you can create today, and it's going to configure your MCP server, and it's going to go and it's going to discover all the tools that server has. And then also there's a bunch of bug fixes that we did. Also, we've open sourced the docs website, the kagent docs and the website. It's at that URL there. I know a couple of people asked, where's the website? Where are the docs? So it's open source now. If you want to make updates, fix my typos or other people's typos, grammar, whatever, feel free to go there and submit a PR. And then this was the slide 1. Slide 2, if I can find my mouse. Oops. I think we have to thank our contributors. So David, Mike, Ioannis, Pavlos Petros, Will, and Dawan. So they were the ones who contributed, other than us, the team, right? Of course, in the past couple of releases. So a huge thank you to them for taking their time, right, and contributing to the project by implementing features or fixing bugs. So thank you very much. All right, so these are my slides. So I'll hide this. I can figure it out, and I think we can go to the demos. What do you guys think? Yes.
Let's do it.
All right,
Let's
and
do it.
I think you volunteered to go first, right, Christian?
Me? Yeah, I can go first. Yeah. So what I'll show the demo that I did at KubeCon. There's a few different parts to it. It's not updated to the 0.1.12 release. So I'm thinking I'll go first. Let me show some of that. I'll show what the configure. We'll build a new agent from YAML, and actually that step will be from. We had labs at KubeCon where people could come up and actually get hands-on in a structured environment that through a tool called Instruct that will walk you through setting all this stuff up and using it. Maybe we could put a link to that. Those labs are still up, right?
I think they will be soon.
They will be. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But so some of that stuff you'll see in my demos from the labs, which means that you can go in and do that yourself also. But so I'll start with the few things that I'll show. Then maybe Peter, you can go into some of the .12 release updates that simplify some of the configure. Eitan, I know you had some config snippets for how we improved calling out to MCP servers for adding additional tools and such. So I'll do the demo that I did at KubeCon. It was not recorded, so you probably haven't seen it unless you're there in person. There might be some overlap with what we did last week, or 2 weeks ago, but I think that was in like minute 55 or 57 of that live stream. I don't know how many people actually saw it. So
Yeah.
why don't I just go ahead and present this?
Yep. And anyone watching and listening in, feel free to like ask questions in the comments or any either questions, feedback, anything, and we'll. Okay, so one feedback, Christian, right away, because someone was telling me that. Can you make your window much bigger?
Like that?
I think
Or what
I
do you
can.
mean?
Yeah, I can read it. Yeah, I don't know if it's not big enough, someone should scream. So yeah.
Or type in the chat. Yeah.
Well, yeah, do type, because if you scream, unless
We
it's
won't.
one of us here, then we won't hear you. But let's see.
So I think this
one might be better.
should be pretty good. Is that pretty
Yeah,
good?
yeah, I think it's readable. I think so.
And then maybe if I come here, can you see that pretty good?
A little bit. Yeah, I think that's fine.
All right. Okay. All right. So kagent.dev. This is the website, and like you mentioned in the slide, we've open sourced this. So for the website and for the docs, if there are things missing or incorrect spelling, whatever, it's a great way to get started contributing to an open source project through the docs. But so as we covered last week, 2 weeks ago, that kagent is an agentic framework for building agents on Kubernetes. We build agents through YAML descriptions, and we can associate tools with the agents and spin them up and have them help us to accomplish platform engineering, DevOps type tasks on Kubernetes. So in the demo that I have here, we are running on Kubernetes. If I look at the namespace, we have the Istio book info app, which is deployed in a couple different namespaces, book info backends and front ends. We do have kagent installed and a few other tools for observability. We do have a load tester, so we are sending some load into this book info demo. If we look in the Kiali dashboard, we should see, let's look at traffic rate. We should see traffic is flowing through the system here. Excuse me. So What we're going to do is we're going to come to the kagent UI. There's also a command line CLI for kagent, and we're going to see we have a few agents that come out of the box. A few of them primarily, like I said, focused on what a platform engineer might need to do in their environment and on their platform. But you can add your own agents. So you click create new agents and add your own agents. You can enter the system prompt and give it a description and so on. We'll look at that in a second. We also have a handful of tools that come out of the box. Things around Argo, things around Grafana. I think there's probably Helm and Istio and Kubernetes in here. These are the ones that come out of the box in kagent. They're not the only ones that you are limited to use. You can bring your own tools, ideally through MCP, and connect those up. So let's take a look at what interacting with the agents might look like. So if I come here and I ask this agent, so we're going to look at an Argo rollouts flow. So if I ask what deployments exist in the book info backends namespace, it will evaluate this, look at the tools that it has available to it, and in this case, it does have the ability to query Kubernetes and ask it information. And in this case, it understands NS means namespace. Hopefully, that's fine out here. And it'll give us a result. In this case, it sees the details, the ratings, and the reviews namespace.
Christian, before you continue, one interesting thing that I noticed, if you scroll a little bit higher up to the top, it actually made two calls. So the first one was, it actually made a mistake in this one, I think. And then it corrected itself, right? See, like it forgot to provide the name. And then in the second one, it actually made a right call to the tool. So it's
good point.
Yeah, it's not that stupid necessarily, the way like Eitan might talk about it later on how our like agent works in the backend, right? Where it's like it tries to run the tool and then if it fails, it's going to try again, right, Eitan?
Yeah. I'm happy to talk more about the intricacies.
Sorry for disrupting.
No, that's a great call out. I glossed right over that. But that was not planned at all, right? That ran into but it recovered and kept going, and we can see the 3 deployments deployed here. We don't have any Argo rollouts. If I come over here and check the book info backend's namespace and refresh this, we don't have any Argo rollouts at the moment. But so what we want to do is, can you turn the reviews deployment into an Argo rollout? And there's going to be in this case, I'm trying to demo that this is a live running application. With Argo rollouts, you can completely replace the deployment with a rollout and have the Argo rollout control how things change. But since this is a live running application, what I want to do is I want to refer to the existing deployment, which you can do with Argo rollout, and I want to specify how the Argo rollout takes over. All right, we want to have a controlled scale down of the deployment while the Argo rollout is rolling out its version of the app. So I'm going to ask it, don't use a template for the rollout, refer to the deployment, and use a scale down of progressive. Don't apply anything yet. So let's give it that instruction. Let's cross our fingers and see if it can do that. So we can see some tool calls here. Let's take a look at what it gave me. So it gave me a rollout here. We see that it correctly refers to the workload deployment, doesn't try to specify the template, specifies a scale down strategy, and fills in the canary. Now we can go in and give more details about how we want to roll out a canary, but this looks pretty good. So I mean, it got it on the first try here. That's great. So let's tell it to go ahead and apply this. So say send. Now we should see that it does have access to the right tools to be able to do this. And it looks like it's been created successfully. And now if we come to the Argo rollout screen and refresh, we should see a rollout here, and we can see it is currently scaling down the deployment and scaling up the rollout. And that's what we would expect here. Hopefully that one completes. It probably will. All right, so that's an example of a flow of interacting with the system using natural language and having it perform a task that a platform engineer might take. Now, obviously, this is working directly with the cluster, which is probably not safe in production. So you would want to add tools to be able to connect this up into Git and make sure that it follows existing workflows that you may have. I can pause there. Are there any questions or comments from the panel?
No, I mean, it's awesome that it worked on the first try.
Yeah.
Like, I'm curious, since you had to, when you were typing your instructions, you were basically very explicit, right? And saying, you said, don't apply it yet, right? Don't do that. I wonder what would have you tried? What happens if you just give the instruction that you had without those kind of guardrails?
Most of the time, it still wouldn't apply it, but there have definitely been times when it does. And so that's a good point. If we take a look at the agent instructions here, all right, we can see there's a fairly detailed system prompt that governs how it is supposed to behave, and gives it some examples to try to keep it smart about the specific types of tasks that we might use. We'll give it some examples, and gives it hints about these things. And I don't think in this system prompt do we see. Yeah, no. But we could add more instructions to this that says, once you create a resource, don't apply it yet, and always get confirmation about applying a resource. Or you could say, once a resource is created and the user is good with it, then check it into Git. Right, so you can be very specific and control the system prompt and specify certain suggestions for guardrails, in this case, for how the agent should behave.
Go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
I think we're going in the same direction. So because this is a great, you're leading it right where we had this conversation yesterday or the day before, right? We had a really good conversation about this, about this idea of seasoning to taste and refining the system prompt, and how important that is, because there's this balance, right, between how specific and detailed the system prompt is and the user's interface to that agent. And the more explicit you have to be as a user to the agent about how to do things, I guess depending on the use case, I personally find the ergonomics of that a bit more taxing than if the system prompt can be a bit more directed and a bit finer, more tighter scoped, right? But that it's a really interesting trade-off there, and I think the only way you get at that is using something like kagent and being able to easily view the system prompt and just interacting with it and fine-tuning the agent itself and the prompt it's using to really season to taste of how you want to interact with the agent.
That's right, and I would even go a step further. That the UI is nice. We have all of this information here in the UI, but if we come back here to the CLI, let's see if I can do this. Agents. This was the Argo agent. Yeah, that's fine. This agent is specified in a YAML format, right? And so we can fine tune this system prompt that you can see here, and we can have it versioned. We can have it go through Git, and we can actually have it go through Argo CD if we wanted, and see exactly the changes that we're making to the agents over time, and how we're improving them. Maybe we could take some of that information and apply it to other agents as well, and be very controlled about how we roll out changes to the agent.
So I think there's like a really close analog here between inner loop and outer loop for like development and validation workflows, where it's so cool to be in the UI and be able to interact with an agent and then just have a really tight inner loop of like, okay, I'm giving these prompts and like, what is the agent doing and this type of thing, and then be able to fine tune that. And I think the second thing you just mentioned is that once this gets reduced down to a custom resource, right, and checked into Git, and then you like maybe are rolling out a new version of it, then how are you doing evals and basically some additional validation across your like, you know, set of examples of like once it gets to production, you have a population of use, right? And how are you evaluating that newer version of the agent against all the existing use cases? Both of those are going to be super, super important.
Yeah. I mean, you can give it test cases, you can give it example scenarios. What were you going to say, Peter?
No. Yeah. That's where I was going. There was also a question from the audience asking, would this setup be reactive, or it can only act when we trigger through chat? So there is a work item issue open, and we are working on, well, actually someone from the community is working on an external API that would allow you to trigger basically do whatever Christian did right now through an external API, right? So it doesn't have to be only through the chat. You could hook it up to webhooks. You could hook it up to whatever you want, to your own UI if you want to. But right now it's only through the chat. So I'll post the pull request in there if people are interested to take a look.
And as we go, and as the agentic world sort of continues to mature, we'll see things like, well, agent to agent communication, whether that's through some formal spec like Google just announced, or whether that's through tool calls, treating these agents as tools through MCP. So being able to kick off and spawn these agents to do certain tasks remotely and driven by other systems, workflow engines, or other agents, I think we're going to start to see that happen as well.
Another question: you're giving the agent all these capabilities and access to read and write in the cluster. Isn't that a security concern? Nah.
YOLO, baby.
Apparently, I'm not the right person to take this, but
so this goes there. My take on this, maybe I'll give a high level, and then Christian and you know, Peter and Eitan, you guys can go into the details. But I think there are multiple levels here in terms of just authorization and access controls and this type of thing, right? And part of these get into the whole MCP conversation of like the downstream tools that you're calling. What is their, like, do they have a strong authorization authentication model, right? Because random people setting up tool servers with embedded credentials to invoke those APIs is absolutely a way, you know, to introduce vulnerabilities in this architecture, right? And allow escapes from proper authorization control. So, but that's a whole nother conversation of how we're going to do this, like from a tool server layer, right? I think when we think about kagent, what we're saying is, listen, you can implement authorization controls coming in to even invoke the agent in the first place, right? You can maybe use platform RBAC to actually like limit who can do what and deploy what within the system. And then of course you have that like flow through of like the identity that's coming into the agent and how that propagates down and into the tools doing the work. I think if you're going to you need to have like kind of a comprehensive strategy around security that spans all three of those layers. And that's what allows you to really tighten the scope of what these agents are allowed to do and puts you in control of that.
And I mean, as you said, it's in the end, the agent developer, are in control in a way, right? Like if you give your agent access to a certain tool, that can expose it to, you know, that's the only way that the agent can write to the cluster, for example, right? The agent won't be magically given permissions to write to the cluster if it doesn't have the tools, right? But then on top of that, you would layer, well, does this agent, even if it has access to the write tool, does it actually have access to write in I don't know, specific namespace or
on behalf of a particular user,
exactly,
or on behalf
yeah,
of, you give agents an identity, or maybe a user can do it, but maybe an agent shouldn't do that. So yeah.
Yeah,
think-
or if there are specific tools, then we can configure a like a human in the loop thing,
Right,
where you
right,
can
right.
say, well, for any create action, let's say, or any write action, right, you must ask user for permission before you go and do something. You can never do it on your own, if that makes
Right.
sense. Yeah.
Or check it into Git, right,
Or-
and tie it in with the existing workflows. Yeah.
True. Yeah. True.
I think it would be a good idea to maybe just do like pick one of the next sessions and just say, all right, we're going to cover agent security, and what does security in the enterprise need to look like for a system like this.
I love
that'd
that.
be an interesting topic.
And by the way, I think it was just as we're discussing this, I was thinking, like, just imagine, let's put agents aside, right? Normal interaction between a developer and a platform engineer and deploying to the platform. We see this all the time in our customer base of just using like Kubernetes RBAC to take certain resources and expose certain APIs to certain personas, right? So developers can add routes to their new applications and services that on their own. They have self-service for that. And that way the platform team doesn't have to be bothered. You don't have a ticket-based culture, right? You have like true self-service. But you can lock down the aspects of like launching new gateways and exposing them maybe insecurely outside your cluster, right? And that's a different persona. So in this scenario, now let's imagine agents map onto this, right? And we want to lighten the load for our platform engineering team, allow them to focus on higher value work. And like the idea of launching new gateways, I put that into an agent that's going to give developers self-service for that, right? But the developers, like from a pure Kubernetes authorization RBAC standpoint, will lack the karma and permissions to do that. Is that a scenario in which the agent has some like elevated authority or permissions, right? And is enforcing RBAC on the users that can consume it, right? So it's very interesting what these overlapping and like, interaction between these authorization models are going to be in this environment. And I think what we'll find is that in many cases, they will mirror what we see when it's, humans doing this work today. And we'll pick up a similar model.
Right. Yep. All right. Let me just do this one last demo. And then I'll have Peter talk a little bit more about some of the updates, probably related to what I'm going to do right now. So in kagent, I was talking about how you can we have a bunch of tools out of the box, and you can bring your own tools. And in this case, what I'm going to do is, let's see if I get the pod in the kagent namespace. We have the kagent controller running. Actually, the controller, the UI, and the backend app. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to apply. Well, actually, I'll show you to let's see. I'll show you. It's a simple Kubernetes.
What is cat fetcher? Sorry.
Cat fetcher.
You were typing the command that said cat fetcher.
Cat fetcher.
Like, what?
And you have a bunch
I've heard of cat herder, but not cat fetcher.
Cat fetcher deployment YAML.
That's who you call come pick up all the feral cats that have been clawing at your door. So the fetcher tool is a very simple tool I think Peter built that will go. You give it a URL and it'll go get the contents of this URL. And it's deployed over a remote MCP server. So from kagent, we can say, hey, talk to this MCP server, and you'll have a list of tools to be able to call. And the way I'm going to deploy this tool is as a Kubernetes deployment. All right. So if we don't want not cat fetcher anymore. We want the apply fetcher. And so if I apply this, it'll go get created. If I come back in here, let's take a look at the pods running here. We see our website fetcher tool is running here. And like I said, it's deployed or implemented as an MCP server. All right, so now if I wanted to create a new agent, I would do that using YAML. The most important parts of that are I will give it a system prompt and I'll give it the tools that it's allowed to use. And so if I do resources agent, the fetcher agent, we can see we create a new fetcher agent We'll give it the system prompt that specifies what its role is and how it should be thinking about or planning to work on tasks. And then we give it a tool. In this case, it is a remote HTTP transport-based MCP server, and it'll be running at this URL. So let's go ahead and apply that. Resources agent fetcher. And now if I come to the UI here and come back to my list of agents and refresh, we should see it'll automatically pick it up because it's looking at the CRDs. We'll automatically pick up our new fetcher agent. And then now if I click into it, we can see it has a tool that fetches website content, and I can start interacting with this new agent. So if I say, can you show me the contents of the kagent.dev website? And it will know that it has this tool available, this remote MCP server-based tool. And let's cross our fingers, everything works right, and skip a step. Yeah, it seems to be working. And it'll call out to that tool over remote MCP and then give me the contents or describe in the summary of the contents of the tool. You can see the actual results here. So I'll pause there.
Nice.
I'll let
I'm glad that this worked.
Yeah.
One tip, Christian, I saw that as you were like when you're typing the thing, you were always going to the send button and clicking it. You can do Command Enter, and it's going to do it for you.
Perfect.
So if you type the message and do Command Enter, it'll do that for you.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
I know, Peter, that was on a slightly older version. I don't know if there's updates that you want to talk about there, because I know we've simplified or made the CRDs a little bit nicer there.
Yes. Yeah. I can share my screen. As you were doing the demo, I was actually trying to set up everything. You know how it is. All right. So let me see. I have way too many windows open, so there's nothing new there. So let me open this here. Oops. Let me see. Maybe. All right. Let me try it this way. So if anyone watching, is anyone building any MCP tools already or thinking about building something? Let us know while I'm trying to stall here. And all right. Okay, I'll share my screen now. There you go. Share screen, and I'll do the entire screen. It might look odd, but we'll see.
Eitan, is your mic working?
Yeah, no, I just haven't been saying anything.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's time for you to say something.
Y'all are doing such a good job. I mean, you know, what am I? I'm just here to look pretty. That's what.
You're here to look tall.
I'm sitting.
I know.
You had one job, Eitan, and you decided to sit.
All right, so I'll try to show the MCP flow. So Christian was showing how you can do it with like through the YAML directly, and then let me show how you can do it through the UI, and fingers crossed that this works. So let me copy the URL. So I'll do add a server. So there's two types of MCP servers that we support. One is the standard IO, and the other one is the like through the server URL, the SSC. So I'll use the SSC one, and I'm using mcp.run. So they have a nice way of hosting the MCP server. So we'll just call it, I don't know, test server. Doesn't matter. So let's add this one. So the server is added successfully, and let me switch to code here. And go back. I'll make this a little bit bigger and just open terminal here. Let me refresh, right? So you'll see it automatically. I had to refresh, but it automatically recognized all the tools that are available from this test server. And if I do a get tool server as a CRD, you'll see I have the test server there. So if I do get tool server, namespace kagent test server, YAML. So there's going to be a lot of stuff here, but that's because the discover tools are part of the status. So let me just get the actual resource. There you go. Yeah, there you go. So the actual resource looks like this. I'll paste it here so we can see it. The actual CRD, I mean. Let's close this. Right. So it's a new kind of a tool server with a name, namespace, and then in the config, it's basically the settings that you can provide here, right? And then the URL, right? So if I wanted to create another one, so let's do this. What if I just create the same one, but we'll call it, let's delete this, new server. But I'll keep the URL the same. So let's see. So if I apply this, okay, apply F, boom, new server was created. So I go here and refresh. Let me see. It'll show up. It'll show up. So let me go here. MCP. Oh, it'll be the same. Actually, it'll be the same. Yeah, there you go. Right. It was recognized here. So I have the tools from the new server already there. Yeah, there you go. For some reason, there's a bug for someone. If they wanted to fix it, looks like the expanding doesn't work. But you can see there's a test server here, and there's a new server there, right? So this is the same flow that we had before. So let's try to use this. All right, so I'll create a new agent, and my tools here are, let me go back here, are all about GitHub stuff. I don't think I have the token set up correctly, but you'll get the idea. So GitHub agent, you're a GitHub agent, and we'll see you can help people. What is a good instruction here? You can help users with their GitHub requests by using the available tools. And just for fun, we'll make something always make a joke at the end for whatever reason. That way I know that it actually works. All right. So if I go to add tools, we have all the built-in tools, but then you also have GitHub, all these GitHub tools. So let's pick the create gist. And note that I have two of them because one is coming from the test server. The other one is coming from the new server. So let's do this and create an agent. Where is it? There you go. So I have the GitHub agent here that has access to this MCP tool that will allow me to create a GitHub. Is it gist or gist?
Oh, gist.
No, it's got to be gist. Gist?
That's what is it GIF or GIF?
Okay, here we go.
There you go. I don't want to start anything here, but just saying. Okay, so let's do this. What can you do? So let's ask it, what can it do? I can assist you with various, there you go. And of course, I'll sprinkle in a joke or two to keep things light. There you go. That's what I want from my agent, right? All right, so let's say create a gist called blah.txt with the following contents. And I'm just telling you, it's probably not going to work because I don't have the GitHub token configured on the MCP server side. But let's see. Hello world. Hello from kagent, right? Whatever. So let's do this. All right. There you go. So it did actually went to this create gist tool. Looks like it made a mistake first time. It didn't actually include the contents, right? And the second one, it failed. And for the reason that I said it will fail is because I don't have the OAuth token configured. But anyway, it actually tells me, it's not going to just fail. It will actually tell you, it failed because of missing OAuth token, right? And then it's going to tell you, here's how you can actually go and do it. And then it actually gives me a joke at the end. I don't know if it's any good. Why don't we ever talk about the AI who became a stand-up comedian? Because their delivery was too robotic. All right.
Ouch. Adjust the temperature on that LLM. We need a
Yeah.
little bit more creativity on that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this is just an example of how to configure the MCP servers through the UI. The other feature that I want to quickly show is how. So right now we support OpenAI. Well, up until now, we've only supported OpenAI, but we've also added support for Anthropic and support for Azure OpenAI, right? So there's a website, there's a documentation site here that actually explains how to do this. So the model config, let me show you this. Model config is the resource that defines the actual models that you have, right? So the default one that's going to be deployed when you install kagent is OpenAI. So the way it looks like is it basically you're pointing it to a secret that has a specific key set, the model that you want to use, and the provider name, right? And that's it.
Can you give it a URL?
Like base URL, you mean, to change it?
Yeah. Mhm.
All right, I'll let Eitan answer that, and then I'll follow up. Eitan, can you do that?
The answer, I will give you the most diplomatic answer ever. It's in the API, untested. So the the answer is it should work. So we do have the field in the API. We do pass it through. You're not the first to ask though. People in the Discord have been interested in the same thing. So yeah, but all else being equal, it should definitely work. So would love yeah.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah. Also, someone tried it and it didn't work, but we'll figure it out. But there is it's just a matter of us. We're probably not passing it through or something. There's an issue. So, but anyway, it should work. And that would unlock you running agents against locally deployed models, right? So, all right. So let me show this. I'm just gonna go off screen a little bit to set my Anthropic key. All right, and now I'm back. So I did this. So I'm just going to create a secret for Anthropic, and then I'll take this and deploy it. After do this. Object. Oh, did we change? We changed the right, Eitan?
Oh,
Are you
yeah,
on like a main branch build, or are you?
Yeah. It's main branch, but it's not so much further from the actual released one. So what am I missing? Am I missing something? Let me see. Apply. Oh, I really wanted to show this. Let's see. Okay, apply. Object provider must be.
Show me what you're trying to apply.
This.
It's probably provider. Oh, you need a. It won't just. You probably. Well, show me the Open API one.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, I wonder if you need to also pass the config or something with Anthropic. That one works. That's interesting.
Oh, but there's nothing in the config, right? Necessarily. You know what I mean?
Let me take a look.
All right. So anyway, this would be the way that you could go, and then we'll fix this. It's like we're a little bit running behind on keeping the docs up to date with the actual code, but this is how you would go and configure the model config, and then once you have it configured, you will be able to, if you go to the agent, right? If you try to edit it, you'll be able to actually pick the agent that you want here. Pick the model that you want there. Yeah. Any pass it an empty object as a value. That's
you need
all.
the empty object. That. Yeah, Eitan's right.
The second Eitan has entered the chat. All right, so let's do this.
SEO fee, Anthropic. No capital, and then just an empty. Yeah,
like this, right? All right.
there's a cell thing that we need. We can
Oh,
get rid
that
of,
yeah.
but
Oh, that
yeah.
look at that.
Yeah. I was,
The Atons saved the stream. All right, so if I go back and let me go to my GitHub agent, and I should. There you go. I have my Claude here. So let's see. Let's update the Claude. Oh no! All right, let's create a new one. There you go. Let's just quickly do a new agent. No one saw that.
because you updated it in the background and the website maybe wasn't ready.
Probably, yeah. So let's. No one saw that. So let's do respond. So respond in gibberish. That's my other go-to. So let's do this. Oh no! Oh, description. Blah. Okay. Yes, it worked.
There's a system prompt that says respond in gibberish.
That's
you're trying to talk to it, and it's like.
All right, so let's see.
Wait, hold on, Peter. Peter, 1 second. Can you make the screen a little bigger for the UI?
Even bigger.
Well, I don't think you need bigger real estate. It's font size. Yeah.
Yep. Perfect.
I saw Shane's comment, and I did bump up the.
Well, I'm getting he's telling me he's yelling at me. No, I'm just kidding.
You guys want to make me look bad because the UI is not responsive, right? Anyway, okay. So let's see. Who made you? And oh no! Oh, I know why. Do I? I don't know. Let me see. Let's see what's happening. Do we want to troubleshoot this or? Eitan,
well, we have about 10 minutes, so I feel like we should probably open it up. I mean, I think I would love to know if anybody has any questions as well.
Yes.
Because
yes.
So in the background, I mean, you can feel free to keep going. But
while I'm doing this, people should.
I never answered. There was a question at the beginning. What was KubeCon and all the takeaways, and I think it was really interesting. I mean, I think we're definitely the landscape is clearly moving in this direction. I think that everybody's excited about agents, everyone's excited about tools, and I think that the next and in addition, right, the enterprises are becoming excited about it too, and I think there's a whole set of challenges that are going to come up once there's a whole set of new challenges that are coming up, and I think that in the same way that the CNCF has helped organizations adopt cloud native technologies, I think there's an opportunity to also help adopt AI technologies if done correctly, and I think that's we definitely are in a good space, and I think that I really am proud of the work we've done. I think it really fits into that in a way that we can help enterprises and users adopt this new technology in a way that appeals to what they already understand. And I think that resonated with people. At least that was my take.
By the way, I figured out what's wrong. Looks like
you haven't paid your bills.
Your balance.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. Like I was freeloading or something. I'll try to recreate. Let me actually go back. I'll try to recreate the secret. All right, so this is created. So let's see if we can. Who made you? No. All right, no luck. I don't know why. Maybe I had to. Anyway, any questions from the chat from anyone watching? Yes. No.
Hello, Sai. Also, I saw you in there.
How are y'all seeing who's writing?
It's in the comments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. Look. By the way, it looks like my key doesn't have enough balance on it or something. Whatever that means. So I don't know. If anyone can post their API key and then I can use it. No.
We'll create an agent that publishes your API key into a public GitHub repository. Let's just
Yeah,
automate
that would make sense. That would probably work. Yeah. Well, all right. If there's no questions, any parting comments from the panel here?
I think there's a lot more stuff to show. I mean, this was the last week we introduced, last session we introduced it. Now we showed a few more live demos about how it kind of works. But there's still a lot of questions around this. So security is one of those topics. There's still a lot of questions around, how do enterprises bring in MCP servers, right? Because it's the Wild West out there right now, and there's a lot of danger in doing that. I think we announced the MCP gateway last week at KubeCon. And there's a lot more that we can dig into with how you can use agents and leverage tools in a safe way. And that should definitely be one of the next sessions.
Spirited GitHub issue in the MCP upstream.
Well, yeah, I mean, security is an important part of that.
So like on that point, Christian, I was going to raise something similar, that if folks watching like on LinkedIn or YouTube or whatever, like if you could comment on topics that you'd like to see covered in future ones of these, because we're pretty committed to doing these on a weekly basis. And we have a good backlog of topics just from our own internal discussions, and then just like in interacting with the community, the kagent community already, things that we think would be useful. But if you have an idea of things you'd like to discuss, if anybody would like to join us and share their experiences, that you're always welcome as well. So
yeah, that would be great. We do, I actually did start a list of topics. Maybe we should share that list and have community either add their name if they want to co-present and come on the stream and do that, or vote what do we do, what is the topic that we do next time, maybe. But yeah, just to rattle off a couple of them, we did how to create an agent using YAML and UI, right? We showed how to use the tools, the MCP tools and the built-in ones. Next one I had on the list was how to create your own MCP tools or MCP servers. Christian kind of showed that, right? But it might be
Well, we could go into a little bit more detail.
Yes.
Maybe talk a little bit about MCP specifically.
Yes, exactly. And then the next one was how to develop tools. We have a couple of tools, built-in tools that actually use LLMs. So the tools that Christian, you were showing, where we apply the resource or create a resource, things like that. We also have a couple of tools that internally use an LLM to give back a response. Right, so there's a tool for creating PromptQL queries, for example, where you could you describe what type of query would you like, and then you actually get back a PromptQL. And then similar tools for creating Istio resources, right? So you would describe the authorization policy, for example, and then you would get a YAML. So an idea for that stream would be, how can we build tools that use LLMs? Someone last time brought up Kyverno, right? And how we could do a tool to do that. Then there's RAG. How do we do RAG? That would be a good topic as well. And then this one is probably for Eitan, doing a deep dive on how the agents are actually implemented, and maybe autogen, primer and things like that. And then debugging and all of those things. And then agent security, of course. Yeah,
not an afterthought.
Yeah. No. It's at the bottom of my list because I added it. So my list should be reversed, maybe. I don't know.
I think that could be the next session. Yeah.
No, just kidding.
By the way, if people, we've already seen this in the community, but another maybe cool one would be if people have ideas on agents or tools they'd really love to build. Maybe we can even have a working session one where we just go in and jump on and just brainstorm it, start to implement it, just do it all live.
Walk people through how you do that.
Yeah. Rock on. Well, hey, this is a fun fun session again. Thanks, you guys.
All right, thanks everyone for
Thanks all for
watching. Thanks everyone for taking their time to join, and we'll probably schedule something today, tomorrow for next week, and we'll see everyone then and there. All right,
Sounds good.
bye
Thank you all.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.